Ode to the West Wind is a renowned poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley, a prominent English Romantic poet. The poem, composed in 1819, it is a lyrical expression of the speaker's profound admiration for the power and potential of nature, specifically the west wind. These translated versions of Ode to the West Wind are presented in Chinese readers in a beautiful form. There are 5 sections in Ode to the West Wind, including 14 lines. Each section can be independent as chapter, but also can institute a entirely. First stanza, which contains 14 lines, speak of the power of the west wind over the leaves of trees. It describes west wind both as a destroyer and as a preserver. Second, the power of west wind in the sky that makes the clouds collect the vapor to cause a rain and storm. In the third stanza, the power of the west wind to cause waves of and the motions underwater in the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. The fourth stanza, the desire of the poet to be driven by the west wind to overcome the thorns and troubles of his turning into the leaf. The fifth stanza, in these lines, the poet plays to the west wind to inspire him and revive his thoughts. He asks the wind to use him like it uses forests to create beautiful sounds and music. He wants the west wind to scatter his message like it spreads the leaves, the clouds, and the waves. His message of hope that if winter arrives, it will soon be over and more way for spring. Westwind is personified as a destroyer and preserver. The, the wild west wind is called the breath of autumn's being, who drives away the dead leaves, which are color yellow and black. Ode to the West Wind is a powerful and moving piece. It is a vivid presentation of the poet's inspired desire for freedom and his revolutionary spirit. So, Percy Bysshe Shelley is a treasure trove of literary techniques. First is the imagery. Shelley uses vivid and powerful imagery to describe the west wind and its effects. For example, the describes of wind driving dead leaves like ghosts from the enchanter feelings. Second is the personification. The west wind is personified throughout the poem. So it describes her as a breath of autumn's being, suggesting it's a living entity. Next is a symbolism. The west wind symbolized many things in the poem, including change, power, freedom, and force of nature. Next is the alliteration. So Shelley uses alliteration to create a musical quality of his poem. Next is apostrophe. This is a figure of speech where the poet addresses an absent person, abstract idea, or a thing. So Shelley uses apostrophe to address the west wind directly. Metaphor. Shelley uses metaphor to compare the west wind to a Dirge of Dying Year. The last one is a rhyme sim. The poem follows a complex terza rima rhyme, which is a three-line rhyme sim used by Dante in the Divine Comedy. These techniques contribute to the richness of depth and depth of the poem. Percy Bysshe Shelley is one of the representatives of the British Romantic poet in 19th century, and he has entered into the University of Oxford and receives the higher education. He has the idea of democracy and freedom. Shirley wrote many famous poems. Here are some of his other notable works. First is the Prometheus Unbound. The second, To a Skylark. Third, the Adonis. Fourth, the Mosque of Anarchy. Fifth, Queen Mab. Sixth, the Cloud. And the Ode in the West Wind is typically representative.